Okay, guys, not actually streaming tonight. I just want to go over the most recent league I did. I didn't stream this league because I couldn't do it continuously. It was broken up like over the course of a day. Um, but this is Ad Nauseam Modern. Reason I'm doing this on Twitch is just this is going to be the easiest way for me to shoot this over to YouTube. So it's not going to be super exciting for like live viewers, but this is the easiest way I know how to put this on YouTube. So quick deck tech, nothing crazy. This is the build I've been using for quite a while. I played 100 friendly games, like 20 friendly leagues on Moto at a 64% win rate, netted like 84 tickets, I think. So I decided I'd try a competitive league. So 4 Grace, 4 on life, and 4 Ad Nauseam. So there's your main combo. 2 win conditions and Lightning Storm Laboratory Maniac, nothing crazy. First deviation from a lot of the lists you see, I'm doing 2 spoils and 1 teachings. Control is becoming a little bit more of a thing. I like mystical teachings in that. It's good for some other decks, and it's an easy card to board out in matches where it's bad, which is kind of a nice thing too. So instead of the 3 spoils, we've got 1 teaching, 2 spoils. Aside from that, no major changes. 3 packs, the 8 best cantrips in Modern, and then your 4 Simian Spirit Guides. Mana base, for me, this has remained unchanged. I know a lot of people don't play it exactly like I play it. So I've got 4 Seacrum Coasts and 3 Darkslick Shores. A lot of people go 4 and 4. I'm still on 4 Gemstone Mines. I prefer it over City of Brass. I think the 1 damage is relevant. I really do. A lot of people don't. Play a single Dreadship Reef. Sometimes that just steals games. 5 Temples, 3 black, 2 of the white temples. 2 planes. There's a reason for 2 planes, and I'll go over that in a minute. And 1 Nephilia Academy. People say they don't like this card because it's colorless. Well, you'll see in the stream how sometimes it just steals games. Very rarely do you just lose games because you have this colorless land. In fact, I think since I've started playing it, and I started playing it shortly after it came out, I've lost maybe 1 game because it was colorless. I've won many, many more. Why 2 planes? Most people do a planes and a island. So my theory is basics, you fetch them out from Ghost Quarters and you use them to beat Blood Moon. In Ad Nauseam, in order to beat a Blood Moon, you're going to need some kind of artifact mana, and you've got your Lotus Blooms and your Penhead Prisms. Obviously, under a Blood Moon, having just 1 of these will not be enough, because we need to make 2 black and a white in order to combo off. Unless we have Unlife already on the table before the Blood Moon resolves, then either of these is enough to combo off. So the theory here is that you only need 1 plains, you need 2 swamps, and nobody's putting 2 swamps in the likelihood that you find both of your swamps, your basic swamps, if you kept 2 of them under a Blood Moon, would be just very, very low. So my theory is get either of your mana rocks out, and then you just need 1 plains, and you can win. Plus, plains lets you get down the Phyrexian on life, cast your Angel's Grace, things like that. So rather than putting in an island, which island is okay because it lets you catch cantrips, I like to double the chances that I get a land that doesn't tap for red. That way, if I have the Penhead Prism, I can use any of my what will become basic mountains and a plains to make the Penhead Prism have 2 counters, and then I have my white and 2 black, and then I can go off. So I've played 2 plains for the longest time. I got that idea from what's his name, Rodrigo Togorius. He was a big player of Ad Nauseam. I think he's more into Legacy now. Won one of the I don't know if it was a GP or I think it was a GP, but anyways, that's where I got the whole playing 2 planes things. Sideboard, some differences here. Things that never change in the sideboard. I think since I picked this deck up over 2 years ago, 4 Ley Lines, 1 Echoing Truth, 4th Pact of Negation. That's always been in my sideboard. Everything else that is here comes and goes. Right now, I think Fatal Push is decent. It hits a lot of things. There's a big uptick in Death and Taxes style decks. It's good against those. Kills a Thalia, kills an Arbiter. Good against Storm, kills their enablers. You can even bring it in against Death Shadow. It depends on which. I don't always bring it in against Death Shadow, but you can. Fatal Push. Supreme Verdict, good against just creature decks, elves. Again, against like your counter company. Fatal Push is really good against that too. Any of your collector company decks. And again, the Death and Taxes style decks, Hate Bears decks, Supreme Verdict is awesome. Single Thoughtseize, it can be used for a lot of different decks. You can play it against the Shadow decks. You can play it against Tron. You can play it against really any deck that's going to have like one threat you just really don't want to get hit by. So you can bring in Thoughtseize against a lot of different decks. The 2 cages are really for Storm and Living End. You can also bring it in for the Counters Company deck. It's all right for that. It stops a lot of the things they do. And not Living End, Dredge. Bring it for Dredge. This card does actual nothing against Living End. If you read this card closely and you read Living End closely, I'm not going to go over it now. Read both cards very closely and you'll see why this does actual nothing. And these are the cards. Well, Ethereal Haze, a lot of people still play. Good for your beatdown decks. Merfolk. If you get into like someone who's just playing like humans, mono white, or some number of colors, slivers, just the decks that they're not really trying to interact with you. They're just trying to put a lot of stuff. Goblins. They're just trying to hit you hard. So E-Haze, very good. This used to be like a 3 of, but the meta is very different now, and Fatal Push a little better. These two you don't always see. So they're both kind of. Silence does a few things. Silence is really good against control, as is Thoughtseize. You can bring in Thoughtseize against control. You cast a Silence, they must counter it if you have the mana to go off. If they don't counter the Silence, you just win. So it makes them use a counter spell. Other ways you can use this: if your opponent has a card suspended. So this is actually good against Living End. If they Cascade, with the Cascade trigger on the stack, you cast Silence. They can't play their Cascade spell. If they have any kind of suspended, Ancestral Vision suspended, cast Silence, they don't get it. It's good for any. It just basically makes an opponent respond to it, or you can just kill them. Also decent against Tron. And you might say, how is this any good against Tron? Well, if you're going to win on turn 4, and they're going to have turn 3 Tron on their upkeep, so they have turn 3 Tron. They got 2 pieces down, they cracked their map, they found their land. So that they're going to untap with turn 3 Tron, probably Karn, and just beat you. Silence on their upkeep, go to your turn 4 and win. I've done that line many, many times. And because there's not a lot of other things that are great to bring in for Tron, I bring it in. Swan Song you can bring in against a lot of different decks. It's just kind of a gotcha card. I bring this in against Tron, same thing as the Silence. They get their turn 3 Tron, they tap out for a Karn, gotcha. You Swan Song them, they get a bird, and then you try and win the next turn. You can bring it in against Control as an extra counter spell. You can even bring it in against Jund, Abzan. I don't always, Jund more so than Abzan, I think. Because against Jund, I don't bring in an Echoing Truth. Against Abzan, I do. So I guess the difference would be against Jund, I'd bring in the Swan Song. Turn 3, they tried in Liliana, Fulminator Mage, something that's just going to be backbreaking for you. Give them a Swan instead. So there's the sideboard. So like I said, nothing, too crazy, but, that's what it is. Let's go over these games. My constructed rating is 1805. I guess that's kind of good. I still don't know how they figure that out, but all right, here was the first game. These were not particularly good matches for me. Let's see if we can make it. Oh, wait. So I won the die roll, and this hand, Really needs to draw a second land. Draws a second land. It's not too terrible. So I kept it. Obviously, turn 1, suspended the Lotus Bloom. That was it. My opponent is on a black-white deck, which is notoriously bad. So I'm thinking it's going to be black-white Eldrazi Taxes, which in my opinion is an unwinnable game. It is worse than Infect, it is worse than Shadow, it is the worst game for us. Why? Every single card they play interacts with our deck in a way that screws us. So you might say, oh, no, that's not true. No, think about it. So first, the obvious. They play 8 main deck discard spells. They play the 4 Tide Hollows and the 4 Thought-Knot Seer. So that's 8 times they're just going to steal our stuff. Then what else do they play? Thalia. Now your combo is not a 6 mana combo, it's an 8 mana combo, and you have to have 4 mana to play your win con. Good luck. Arbiter. Blow up your lands that we need. Even the ones you might not think do anything to us still do stuff to us. Wasteland Strangler, you think, that's kind of a dead card because we don't play creatures. Wrong. If they strangle one of their own cards or their own Strangler, they can take our Lotus Bloom from exile, move it to the graveyard, and we're already strapped for mana if they've got a Thalia out. So like literally everything they're playing hits us. And then Stony Silence out of the sideboard, Disenchant out of the sideboard. It's an awful, awful unwinnable match. Fortunately for me, there's also a black-white Eldrazi deck, which is just the Eldrazi half of the Eldrazi Taxes without the Arbiters, without the Thalias. It's still a bad matchup, but it's not nearly as unwinnable. So I pretty quickly realized that the Taxes deck does not generally play Inquisition. So I think I'm up against this other deck. This is still not good for me, though. So I've got 1 land. They take my Lightning Storm. That is a just flat-out mistake. They should have taken Angel's Grace. Anybody who's played Ad Nauseam knows that like, don't take the win con. We always have 2. Yes, it sets me back. I have to have 1 extra mana, but it's usually not the big deal. Should have taken the Grace. So Lotus Bloom ticks down. I did get lucky with the land. I scribed the Serum Visions to the top. Pass the turn. This may have been why he took the Lightning Storm, because he knew turn 2 he was just going to do this. Sculler takes the Angel's Grace, and that's as good as a discard spell because I have no way other than the Lightning Storm he just took. Maybe that's why he did it this way. He thought maybe in some world I Lightning Storm his Tide Hollow Sculler. He could have done it the other way. It wouldn't have made a difference. But now that card is basically gone forever. So things are looking grim. Get the Serum Visions. I decided it's better to get cast the Serum Visions than to get the mana down. This is a very lucky Serum Vision. So I get an Ad Nauseam, and then I think I scry Phyrexian Unlife to the top and Gemstone Mine to the bottom. Or no, I topped. I believe is what I did. We'll see. And I'm expecting the Thought-Knot Seer. Because of the, he's got the mana for it, and he casts it. So I packed it. And I'm going to have to hard pay for this pack. Like, I'm going to have this Lotus Bloom coming down. I know if he takes this Ad Nauseam, I'm just not going to win. So that's fine. I've got enough of these Pendant Prisms that we should be okay. So Lotus Bloom comes down. I waste it, pay for the pact, draw this Gemstone Mine. Yeah, so I topped, which was the right play. My opponent, the Reality Smashes. Yeah, hits me for a lot. I'm down to 11. All right, being at 11, other than a second Reality Smasher, I live. So, but I think I was worried about the second Reality Smasher, so I go ahead and get the Unlife down. Opponent doesn't have second Smasher, but he does have a Gideon. Gideon doesn't change the clock, really doesn't make a difference. So he gets his Gideon, but I'm still in a positive life total. So I know Drawing the second ad nauseam is great. So now if he gets some kind of a discard spell, I'm still going to win. So at this point, I'm pretty sure I'm going to win. So cast a pen ad, and I actually cast a second pen ad. There's a reason for that. So I spent 2 to get the first one, and then used Gemstone Mine and 1 counter off the pen ad to get the second. This way, if he plays a Flicker Wisp, which I don't think this version plays, but just in case, if he flicks my Pentad, then I only have 4 lands. That lets me top deck a land, play it, and still possibly win. I also get my Gemstone Mine down to 1 counter, which additionally lets me play a Scar land. So I can tap the Gemstone Mine, have it be discarded, only have 2 lands, play like another Seacrum Coast or a Darkslick Shore. So basically, I'm just maximizing my outs. Fortunately for me, all he does is hit me, make another 2/2, pass the turn, I win. I draw an Angel's Grace, doesn't matter. Combo, I win. That's wonderful. Oh, actually, so I had to win with Labman because he took my Lightning Storm. So once I Serum Visioned, he Fatal Pushed, I pacted it. He Path to Exiled, I pacted it. I think he Ghost Quartered something of mine. Yeah, he Ghost Quartered something of mine in order to turn Fatal Push on, but it wasn't any good. I had the pack, so there's that. Sideboarding for this game, I brought in 4 Ley Lines of Sanctity and 1 Echoing Truth. I took out, I want to say, Mystical Teachings, Nephilia Academy, 1 Serum Visions, 1 Pented Prism, and I can't remember what else. 1 other card. Oh, probably 2 Pact to Negations, and I didn't take the land out, maybe. All right, so this hand is a fine hand. It's actually a really good hand, but it doesn't have ley lines. So I keep it because I can't justify mulliganing this hand. It's a very good hand. Opponent, turn 1, Inquisition takes my Lotus Bloom. I think that's the right play on the opponent's part. So there, of course, comes the ley line. I'm sorry, that went by really fast. So what I did was just run a Scryland, Scryed ad nauseam, left it on top, passed the turn. Yeah, Leyline being your 8th card is always a downer. So opponent plays a Displacer. That's no big deal. We sleight of hand, take the Lotus Bloom because I'm going to need mana. I know it's late, but I'm going to need it. Scry, Pact to Negation to the bottom, and I suspend the Lotus Bloom. Pass the turn. Opponent gets Caves. There's the Thought Knot. Takes my Ad Naz. Not looking good. I get a Pented Prism. I sleight of hand. I take the Serum Visions. I Serum Visions. I keep 1 spoils, give away 1 spoils. Bottom. Opponent hits me. Relic does nothing. Passes. Pick up that spoils. Play another Serum Visions. I believe I bottom the land, and I think I top the Unlife. Yeah. Send out another Lotus Bloom. Put out Pented Prism. Pass turn. Opponent cycles his Relic because he knows that Relic doesn't do anything. I'm guessing he just didn't have. He boarded out so much removal, he didn't have anything better to board in. So Relic is less dead, I would say, than Fatal Push because it at least cycles. Then he just hits me for a ton, and I die. Or I think I spoils for an Angel's Grace. I find it. Or no, I don't. I actually killed myself there. That's why this error is coming up. I spoiled, and it was only a 10 life left. Even if that would have resolved, it's not going to work out well for me. It technically left me some outs, but it wasn't going to work. So I lose this matchup. All right, and game 3. This is a great hand. Combo, fast mana, leyline. I'm feeling extremely good, like there's no way I'm going to lose. So, or sleight of hand, I take the Dreadship Reef, obviously. Spend the Lotus Bloom, pass turn. Opponent, they don't really have a turn 1 play when we have a leyline. Land pass. I draw another Unlife, play my Reef, pass the turn. This is where leyline is so awesome. The Sculler that would take my Ad Nauseam is just a 2/2. I put a counter on my Reef. Draw, play an Unlife, and pass turn. If I draw a land, I can just win next turn. Opponent, or I don't even need to draw the land because I have the Lotus Bloom. All opponent had was Lingering Souls, Lotus Bloom drops, I win. I think that was it, yep. He conceded, game over. So I beat Black-White Eldrazi. So I'm 1-0. Match 2. Again, I win the die roll. Now, here's where Nephilia Academy is awesome. All right, so this is a good opening hand. It only has 1 colored land, but I have 2 Lotus Blooms. So I'm not really worried about my mana. Even if I have to kill this Gemstone Mine completely, I don't really care. So I could Gemstone Mine Serum Visions, but what am I looking for? I'm looking for Ad Nauseam, but I'm in no hurry. I just decide the best thing to do here, run out my Academy, play both my Blooms, pass the turn. Opponent is on some kind of a deck that plays Bobble, so I'm thinking Death Shadow something, or straight up Abzan. With this play, it's Abzan. So he Thought Seizes, takes my Serum Visions, I put it on the top of the deck because of Academy. So he gets his draw, I get my Blooms, I redraw Serum Visions. Play the Mine, play the Visions, get another land, and there's the Ad Nauseam. Pass turn. Opponent, I think he just plays a Goyf here. Yep. Get my Ad Nauseam. So opponent plays Liliana. Now, here I'm fine, because even if I didn't have Academy, it doesn't matter. I can discard either of these. I'm going to have 2 Blooms coming down. I could hard cast an Unlife if I had to. So what I do is I just discard the Unlife. I don't bother putting it on the top. It doesn't matter, because all I need are these 2. I've got the mana. We go to my turn, I win. So pretty good matchup against Abzan. My guess is he may have had more discard that he just didn't play because I had the Academy. It depends. It may still be right sometimes for your opponent to play it because it basically gets rid of your draw step, but we didn't need a draw step because we had the combo in hand, all that good stuff. Game 2, since you see there's only 2, I think you know who wins this one, but that's whatever. This is not a great hand, but I have to keep it. So it's got a leyline, and it's got the combo. Pact isn't great. These guys can be mana acceleration, and this is a scry land. That's super important. So I know that I'm going to get to draw a card, scry a card, and draw another card before it's time to make my second land drop. So doing all that, I feel decent enough that I can make my second land drop. So play my leyline. Opponent obviously has no turn 1 play because of that. And I'm fortunate enough to draw my land now, so I can just scry. And I scry the land to the top, pass the turn. Opponent just plays a Scooz, maybe? No, Grim Player is what it was. Grimflayer is awful when you don't have a ley line, because they can like manipulate their deck to make sure they hit their Inquisitions and Thoughtseizes. But when you have a ley line, it's not as bad. So I just play another land, pass turn. No point in using a Spirit Guide to get down a Phyrexian on life that can just get Abrupt Decayed anyways. So he gets in, messes with his library, and Glyph. And lands. So he's getting a clock, but you know, it's not fast enough. We get the Pentad. I play the Pentad because I know he's not going to kill me next turn. Also, can bait an Abrupt Decay, because I'd rather Abrupt Decay this than my combo piece. Because I can still go off with my Spirit Guides, actually. So he swings. Like I said, I know he's not killing me, so manipulates his library. Grimflayer is so good against us because we just can't block it. Plays another Glyph. Plays Swamp. You do hear Lingering Souls. Don't care about Lingering Souls. Draw the Serum Visions. Here I just run out the Unlife. So now the only way he's beating me is to Abrupt Decay my Phyrexian Unlife. I'm hoping he doesn't have it because I'm thinking he might have Abrupt Decayed my mana because he doesn't know I have 2 Spirit Guides. He's going to hit me for a bunch, but actually less because he flashbacked his Lingering Souls, which shrunk his Glyphs. So he put 2 power on the board, but he took 2 power off the board, so it wasn't the best move. Also, why I didn't play the Serum Visions. Why grow his Glyph when there's nothing that I need? I mean, I would have had to burn a counter anyways. So here he gets Traverse the Ulenwald, and I think I have a feeling what he's going to play. He plays it, Rex Sage. Fortunately, I packed it, so he doesn't get to kill the Unlife, which is what he would have done and won. So instead, I win the game with Pact on the Stack. It's my literal favorite thing to do is win with Pact on the Stack. So he concedes, and I'm 2-0. Okay. On the play this time. This is a fine hand. I've got one half of the combo and something that can find the other half. Green, white, and passes. I don't know what I'm up against. Black, white. I'm thinking Abzan again. So I just take the coast. Pass the turn. It's Abzan again. Plays the Scooz. Scooz is like Abzan's worst. You know, we're fine to see that. It's basically just a 2/2. He's going to be hard pressed to grow it unless he puts his own creatures in the graveyard. So we just scry. Serum Visions scry at the top. Play Serum Visions. And then I think I went bottom here. I hear I'm worried about Liliana. Then he plays Liliana, but not the Liliana I'm worried about. So I'm feeling much better. So he just basically, if that was Liliana in the Veil, it'd be much worse for us. I get the Lotus Bloom. I scry. I think I got the Ad Nauseam, so I went bottom here. Played a land. Now I didn't. Yeah, I played my Pen and Prison, but I didn't suspend my Lotus Bloom. And my thought was maybe he plays other Liliana, sacks this Liliana, because this Liliana is not great until it ultimates, and it's just not going to ultimate. And even the ultimate doesn't kill us right away. So I thought there's maybe a chance if he draws Liliana the Veil and plays it, I'm going to want Lotus Bloom to discard to her. In retrospect, I don't know, maybe I should have played the Bloom. So here he gets in, and then I think Abrupt Decays my mana. So that kind of sucks. Makes me wish I would have suspended the bloom. Get my spoils, play a plains, then I suspend the bloom. I'm deciding now that he's probably not going to play another Liliana, which he doesn't. Gets in for another 2, and there's the Rhino. So he's got a decently fast clonk, but he's not killing me next turn. So I know if I, that's probably not going to make its way down. So I do have my Angel's Grace, and I can get another Angel's Grace with Mystical Teachings. But I draw the land anyways, so now I know I can win next turn. So even if he Siege Rhinos, he still doesn't kill me, so he doesn't really have a way to kill me. So I'm feeling really good now. If he has discard, then he has discard. I can fetch up whatever he takes with Mystical Teachings. So this is where Teachings would be very good. You know, Thought Seizes or Inquisitions. I don't even have to like spoils for a pact or any business like that. I just let him take whatever he takes and get another. Tireless Tracker doesn't do anything. Go ahead and play your land, crack your clue. I think he's digging for a discard spell here, but he doesn't know that it doesn't make a difference. So he goes to pass the turn. I mean, I guess I could have gotten a Pact of Negation. I don't know. I can't think of any main deck card that's going to make a difference. He's not main decking his own copy of Angel's Grace, so it doesn't matter. So I have my 6 lands, and I win the hard way. All right, game 2. It's another one of those situations like perfect hand against any deck that doesn't play black, but this is an opponent who plays black. So because it's so perfect, I can't mulligan this. I just can't. I just got to hope he doesn't have discard. I mean, it's just a good hand. And he starts off that way, which is great. No discard. So again, 8th card is Leyline. Why? So I'll play my sleight of hand. Took the Pented Prism, suspended the Lotus Bloom, pass turn. Opponent, Goyfs. 1/2 Goyf is something we do not care about. Play the land, play the Pentet. I don't really sleight a hand at this point because I've got what I need. I want to set up for the win. Maybe draw an Abrupt Decay. Opponent Fulminator Mages. I don't really care about this right now because I've got 3 mana here. I know I've got another one in the Gemstone Mine, and I got a Lotus Bloom coming down, so not too terribly worried. Draw my card. Angel's Grace, even better. I don't even need to play the Unlife now. So do that. I take the Gemstone Mine, play the Gemstone Mine, and I pass the turn. All I have to do is make it through this turn, and I win. I'm feeling fairly decent here. He plays Tireless Tracker. Don't care. Really feel like I'm going to win. Then he does this, and he leaves it untapped. I'm thinking, I hope it's Inquisition. Because if he Inquisitions, I'm okay. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 lands. I can play a Phyrexian Unlife and play an Ad Nauseam. No biggie. Nope, he top decked a Thoughtseize. Takes my Ad Naus. That sucks. Still, though, I have a Grace and an Unlife. I'm going to live for a while. And this Lotus Bloom. So I'm feeling worse, but not defeated. Here I decide that it's best to just play Leyline, because he's not going to kill me next turn. I've got plenty of time to get this other stuff down. Let's get the Leyline down so he doesn't take any more of my stuff. That's what I do. What does my opponent do? He top decks this. Surgical Extraction. So to make a long story short, many turns go by. He just keeps making land drops, getting clues, cracking clues, and I never find the basically I need to find a spoils and a lab man. It never happens. He just continues to crush in. I never find that. It's very hard to win that way. I didn't concede because I have won that way. If you are very lucky, you can win that way, but Surgical Extract your Ad Nauseam is going to be good. Game 3. I'm on the play this hand. I really thought about this. I'm like, well, it has no actual pieces. Echoing Truth isn't a combo piece. It doesn't dig for me. But I've got mana and I've got Leyline. I decide that this is probably better than a random 6, so I run it out there. Play my land, play my bloom, pass the turn. Opponent just plays a noble, don't care. It's a good draw, I'm halfway there now. So play my land, pass the turn. Opponent plays Stony Silence. An opponent doesn't actually realize how bad this Stony Silence is because I do have my Echoing Truth. So that Stony Silence is not going to stop us from doing anything. Opponent also misses a land drop, which is very good for me. Draw sleight of hand, play a sleight of hand, take a Serum Visions, play a Serum Visions, and I believe I take. I think I bottom, yeah. I think I definitely bottom. Play a land, pass the turn. Opponent's second Stony Silence is actually worse than his first. It's just as dead because of Echoing Truth, and it doesn't even make a difference. So get my Lotus Bloom down, and this Lotus Bloom is as good as usable, but I don't have ad nauseam yet. So here he surgical extracts my Serum Visions, my Serum Visions, which is a fine play. I mean, he's very unlikely to surgical extract anything better. Does it on my draw step, so maybe he can get one out of my hand, and he gets to see my hand, so he sees that Stony Silence is actually not great. I scry bottom, I pass turn. He finally hits his land drop here. Yeah. So he gets a Tireless Tracker. I don't really care about it. I draw nothing. I play nothing, but this is actually kind of important because now I have enough mana to combo off if I have to. Pass turn. Opponent hits for 4. And does nothing else. I draw Lab Man. Not really a great draw. And I didn't play my land because at this point I think I'm still. I don't feel I need to play it yet. Here he decides to Abrupt Decay my Lotus Bloom because he knows I can basically use my Lotus Bloom. This play, he hits me for 4 again, and then plays a second Tireless Tracker, which I don't think is very good on his part. He knows I have this Echoing Truth. So I play another Gemstone Mine. I've got enough mana to go off. I Echoing Truth his Tireless Trackers, so he just replays one. I take no damage. Play a Temple. Scry to the bottom. Pass the turn. He gets a second Tireless Tracker out. It's all these clues, but this is why Stony Silence is so bad. He can't crack his clues, and it's not hurting me at all. I draw this worthless draw. I run out Lab Man because now I know even if I draw spoils, I'm not going to exile a win con, so Lab Man can just sit out there and block. He gets 2 more clue tokens that he can't do anything with. Plays a Liliana. Really, if he kills Lab Man, it doesn't really change much. If he makes me get rid of a Gemstone Mine, it doesn't change much. So I discard the mine. This is very crucial because now, like, I'm down to, well, see, I bought myself 2 more turns. So I'm at 5, so even with his Exalted trigger, I'm not dead. I hit the Ad Nauseam off the top. That's all she wrote. That was a narrow win. Really, Leyline saved my butt, and I drew really well there. I got fairly lucky. I had a lot of cantrips, but at the same time, is what it is. So I'm 3-0. Decent enough starting hand. No, it was bad starting hand. That hand was going nowhere. Kept this, scryed to the top. Opponent takes my Serum Visions. Fortunately, I scryed Serum Visions to the top. Play it. Sleight of hand into hand. I think I topped Ad Nauseam, bottomed Pact. Pass turn. Opponent collected Brutality, and he took my sleight of hand. And then I drew the Ad Nauseam that I'd put on the top. Play the Reef, pass the turn. Now it's just a matter of finding lands. Opponent gets Displacer. I don't really care about Displacer. I draw a Prism, which is a good draw, but Dreadship Reef doesn't play nice with Prism. But that's fine. I'll get it down eventually. Plays a Tidehauler, steals my Prism. I will not get it down eventually. It's me. Luckily, he doesn't have much of a clock. This is decent, but stinks. It's like it's 2 mana, but I don't want to use them to like put counters on Reef or anything silly like that. I really just need to draw 1 real land to feel good about myself. He gets a second Displacer, don't really care. Hits me, I'm at 12, so my life total is beginning to matter. This draw is key, because now I can start putting counters on my Reef, which is what I'm going to do here. He attacks with everything. Hits me down to 4. I put a counter on my Reef. I find a second Ad Nauseam, so now I'm feeling I should still actually be losing here because my opponent makes a play mistake, which is lucky for me. So attacks with everything, which is fine. I Angel's Grace. I'm going to put a counter on Reef. Now right here, my opponent should blink his Tide Hollow Sculler. See what's in my hand, and take my Angel's Grace. Give me back my Pennant Prism. What good does Pennant Prism do me at this point? But he either doesn't see that play or is thinking something else. Once it becomes my turn, even if he were to do that right now, I just combo. I can burn the 2 Simians, and I can still win. So draw land. He still does nothing. Actually, even if he would have done it on my draw step, I could combo off, but then he can take my let me think about that. He would have taken, if he took my Lightning Storm, can I still win with Lab Man? I would have had 2 Simians left and a land drop. No, I couldn't have won. So there was another opportunity for him to win, which he didn't. Once we're here, though, he can't win because he's not going to be able to respond to anything I do. So big play mistake on his part for not blinking his Tide Hollow Sculler with his Displacer. Game 2. This hand, I think I mulliganed that hand because I thought it would just get ripped apart. This hand is hot garbage, so I had to mulligan, and this hand was a keep because I'm not going down to 4. Topped that. The only benefit to this hand is there's not much for him to take. So he took a Spirit Guide, not a Lotus Bloom. That's a mistake, but whatever. I'm assuming he's going to have Stony Silence, which is why he did that. If I play my sleight of hand, take my Angel's Grace, suspend my bloom past the turn. Inquisitions again takes my Grace, but he doesn't have a second land, so that's good for me. And I'm just going to play lands. Might as well play the land that I can grow. I've got all kinds of mana. He finally hits his second land. Stony Silence. At this point, Stony Silence is not very good, because I've got effectively 5 mana this turn, going up to 6. Play Serum Visions, get the Ad Nauseam bottom. Opponent plays Ghost Quarter, gets out Lingering Souls. Don't really care about Lingering Souls. Put a counter on the Wreath. Really just hoping to draw Angel's Grace here. Draw Spirit Guide instead. And this is where the game gets interesting. So I kind of felt this was coming. Ghost Quarter's my land. To go down to 3, technically 4 mana, but not really because I've already lost a Spirit Guide. I don't like this, so my plan here is to value Ad Nauseam, because I'm going to have 4 lands though, because I'm going to get to search out a basic. So I use my 3 counters, search out my basic, and then I just decide to Ad Nauseam. I feel like if I can string together the right group of cards, like decent start, but then don't really need spoils. Pen Ad is, so I'm still feeling okay here. If I pull an Ad Nauseam, I can get an Unlife down, some fast mana down, and just win. The Leyline's really bad. And I think, where did I stop? Somewhere around here. I stopped here because I didn't want to take any more damage because I know I'm taking 2 more. Then he Surgical Extracts Ad Nauseam, which is, I can't let this resolve, so I have to Pact. And this Pact is horrible because I'm going to tap down all my lands and have to use my Spirit Guide. Well, no, at this point I think I'm just going to Angel's Grace. So I'm like, okay, that's not the biggest thing in the world. I still have Unlife. Then he does this. Takes my Angel's Grace. Really bad for me. Now I have to do what I said. I have to, it's the only way I don't die. Play a Gemstone Mine, waste my whole turn. I still have cantrips and stuff. I know I'm not going to die here. But then he Thought Knot Seers, takes my Unlife, and then I'm just dead. So what do I do on my turn? I think I actually spoil for Phyrexian Unlife because it's the only way I might win. It has to be in my top 2 cards. It is not, I die. So go to game 3. On the play, no lander, easy mulligan. This is a very good mull to 6. Very good mull to 6. And my opponent also mulls to 6. I keep this land on top. Play my Leyline. Because I topped my land and I want that land, I'm not going to Sleight of Hand. Opponent will not have a turn 1 play. Now I play my Sleight of Hand, grab my Ad Nauseam, play a land. I'm well on my way to winning. Just need mana. Opponent plays the world's worst Tide Hollow Sculler. That's so great when they just have to play a 2/2. This is even better. Play the Prism, play the land. Now any land, any untapped land or Simian Spirit Guide just makes me a winner. Opponent plays Lingering Souls, don't care. So what I'm going to do here, if I didn't draw the land, I was going to play Unlife and just have to make it 1 more turn. But I drew the land, so I just win. And beaten White-Black Eldrazi twice. Again, not a good matchup, but it's winnable. It's that when you get Leyline, this matchup becomes no worse than Jund. It's actually probably even a little bit better than Jund if you have a Leyline. It's more like Abzan. It's much more like Abzan, I should say. So you get that ley line, you're in decent shape. The Eldrazi taxes is not the case, because even when you have the ley line, so they go off the discard plan and they go on the Thalia Arbiter, take your stuff plan. So 4-0, final match. This is a decent enough hand against an unknown opponent. It's got 2 cantrips. I'll probably be able to find real colored mana. My opponent's on Tron and plays the rock, so it's probably not Eldrazi Tron. I draw a Lotus Bloom, which is a great draw here. So play Serum Visions and bottom top and suspend. Pass turn. Opponent goes Ancient Stirrings. Reveals, I think it was Wormcoil Engine, yeah, so that's not too scary, but he does get his second Tron piece anyways, and plays another egg. I don't have a lot of choices here, so being that Bloom is 2 turns away, I do not use my Spirit Guide to put down the Unlife. I will do that next turn if I have to, if I don't draw land. Fortunately, my opponent does not have turn 3 Tron. So gets a Sanctum of Ugin, passes. And that is very lucky. That's what I need in order to win. I get this Pened Prism, which, yeah, I think I just did it this way. I just played this because then I know if my Bloom resolves, I just win, and I have Pact and Negation back up. My opponent gets Tron, slams it. I think he's going to play Ugin at first because he looked like he was tapping everything. Changes his mind, plays a Karn, does not sack his Sanctum. Of course, I Pact of Negation his Karn. He has to pass his turn. I beat Tron a lot with either Pact on the stack or through Silence, like I said. Beating Tron with Pact on the stack is a classic move. And that's what happens here. So, spoiler alert, I 5-0. Second match, this was a huge disappointment. You'll see why. This is a fine enough hand against Tron. I'm assuming he plays discard. I'm assuming because most of the Tron are green-black now, and they have Collective Brutalities in the board, sometimes Thought Seizes. He just plays Tron Peace Map, so it's going to be a quick hand, I'm thinking. I Sleight of Hand, take the Ad Nauseam, suspend the Bloom, pass the turn. Plays the Blooming Marsh, and now I'm sure of it. He's on Black Tron, obviously. Sylvan Scrying, gets a Tron piece, passes the turn. This is good, though, because I know he's not going to have turn 3 Tron because he had to play that. But he will have turn 4 Tron because he scryed for a piece and he still got that map down. So just play your Sleight of Hand. I took Silence, played a Gemstone Mine, played another Sleight of Hand. In retrospect, no, that was the right play because my plan is to silence him the turn before my Bloom comes down. So not this turn, but the next. Gets his Tron piece out, and I thought he was going to crack his map. No, Brutality. Sucks. Takes my Adnos. Not the worst thing in the world because I have the Spoils of the Vault just sitting here. So now Silence isn't great because I'm going to need more than one turn. So I get this down, and I just have to fade whatever he does on his turn. I know he has to pay mana to crack his map. So he's not going to be able to Karn or Ugin. So he does just that. Gets Tron, but now he can only make 4. So I'm not super worried. Plays an egg. And then he concedes. So he knows my hand. So he knows I've got a Bloom coming down, I've got an Unlife in play, and I've got a Spoils. He just assumes I'm going to Spoils for Ad Nauseam and beat him. I don't know why. This is not right for him to do. This is someone who's also 4-0. in a competitive league. Why not play it out? So it's not going to let me show you. So I drew cards. I actually end up exiling some 25 cards till I find another ad nauseam and spoil away both win cons. So I don't think he was still in the chat. I let him know that he would have won that match. I feel bad that this is how I won my 5-0, but at the same time, I feel decent that I would have beaten this opponent in game 3. Being on the play is very important against Tron. Tron is a decent matchup. Like if he doesn't have that, maybe he has 2 collective brutalities, maybe even 3. If he doesn't have that, he just loses here. I just feel like this is a good matchup. I feel like I probably would have won, but it just kind of sucks that like my competitive 5-0, like I haven't played a competitive league in forever. That the one I get, it's 5-0, but like this feels like a hollow victory. But at the same time, I'm pretty confident. I think my percentage against Tron is somewhere around 75%. So the fact that I'm 1-1 and on the play, I feel pretty good about that. So anyways, there's my 5-0. That's the deck. It's based what I would consider 4 bad matchups and 1 good matchup. Tron is a good matchup, especially Green X Tron. Eldrazi Tron is a little less good. Green X Tron's a pretty good matchup. But Black White Eldrazi, bad but not horrible. Abzan, same way. It's Abzan Jund. They're not great matchups, but if you hit your ley lines, they're pretty decent at that point. So, yeah, we can beat our bad matches. Grixis Shadow. Grixis Shadow isn't much worse than Abzan. People say it is. I don't feel it is. My record against the two are pretty well the same. I think I'm about 40%. This will mess my numbers up a little bit because I beat Abzan twice in a row, and I just haven't played. Even when you play 100 games, it's not enough data. You need to play 1,000 games before that data starts being meaningful. But I feel like, yeah, I would say about 40% chance against Abzan, maybe 35-40 against Grixis Death Shadow, but you can win those games. That's why Ad Nauseam is a very good grinder deck. It's a very good deck for winning prizes on Moto, winning store credit at Friday Night Magic. It's not the best deck to win 15 games in a tournament. It's not, because you're going to hit enough of these bad matchups that the percentages are just going to be not in your favor. But something like Moto, especially friendly leagues, like I played those 100 games in friendly leagues. I think I played 49 different decks. That's crazy. 49 different decks. That many decks exist. There's even, and that was just in 100 games. And yeah, there's things that are close. There's like, Naya Burn and Mono Red Burn and Abzan versus, like Jund versus just a green black deck. But they're different decks. So anyways, that's it. Like I said, I was just streaming this to throw it up on YouTube, which I'm going to do now. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, drop a comment below, and we'll see you guys.